And a couple of special ground rules for today, which our hosts are offering to us. And it's to make us comfortable. Because today what we need to do is generate ideas. We need some blue sky. We need some thinking. So one of the things they've agreed to is that in the minutes of today's meetings, specific ideas will not be attached to the person who first mentions them. You will not come back 2 months from now and see that someone says, well, on such and such a date, you came up with that idea, so you're committed to doing it. That's not going to happen, okay? And the other ground rule for that same purpose, for your comfort, is that the camera will go off during question and answer periods and during discussions. It's only for the presentations. Okay, so relax, participate, and enjoy yourselves. We're ready to go on to the first item on the agenda. And naturally, the first item on the agenda is introductions and to look at the agenda itself. Now, we hope that you've seated yourselves in a somewhat random way, because that's a grand way to get communications going right here on the site. But for the presentations, I find it might be nice to counterbalance that with clustering people. So I'm going to ask, first of all, people to introduce themselves who are from Quigger. Can Elise, would you like to start that off? Just, I'll ask you to give your full name, your title, your organization, and perhaps some hopes that you have for today.
Hi, my name is Elise Zack. I'm the executive director of
Yes, you have microphones.
Sorry about that. My name's Elise Zack. I'm the executive director for the Canadian Working Group on HIV and Rehabilitation, or Quigger. And I'm really thrilled to be at this day with all of you, and thank you so much for taking the time to come today. You'll find out a little bit more about Quigger as we move through the day, but just generally, we're a national organization that works to bridge the worlds of HIV, disability, and rehabilitation. And the topics for discussion today fit in really into some of the priority areas that we've been hearing about from people living with HIV, disability programs, so and all of the people involved in making things move as smoothly and as effectively as possible. So I look forward to talking with each one of you today in different contexts. So thank you for coming.
Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Eileen McKee, and I'm equally, if not more, pleased to be here today for this consultation on navigating the maze. Many of you, it's been delightful to be working with you over the course of the past 18 months on this project. And the culmination of all that work, I think, is going to be happening today and over the next few weeks. And that, I guess, perhaps is also my aspirations for today.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Popeil. I'm also with Quigger. I'm the current project coordinator. Eileen and I have shared those duties over the course of the 18 months. And it's really a pleasure to see so many different program representatives in the room. This type of dialogue is something that we hope we'll see happening not just today, but into the future as well. And that'll become a new perspective that we all share, that will engage in this type of collaborative work. So we thank you for coming, and I think it should be an exciting day.
Great. And Eileen, would you just mention Neil? I understand Neil will be joining us later, but can you mention him, that he's coming to support? Neil Kemp?
Neil Kemp's area, he works for an organization called Swift Fox Strategies. Neil just had to step out this morning because of a car problem that he had. So he'll be joining us later on this morning. And one of his areas of expertise is in business transformation enhancement programs. It goes by different names, but he can explain that much better than I can. And so that's where Neil will be presenting later on this morning.
Great, and he's in support of our hosts and of all of us here today. All right, the next group of people is a little unusual. We have two people who naturally have affiliations, but they're here today to speak to us as individuals. So I would like Lynn and Nadine to introduce themselves. Nadine, would you perhaps start?
My name's Nadine Riopel. I currently work for the City of Ottawa with Ontario Works, so with the Employment and Financial Assistance branch. Prior to coming to the city, I worked at the AIDS Committee of Ottawa as a program coordinator with the Living Room, which for those of you who are from not Ottawa. I'll get into details about that, I guess, when I'm speaking a little bit further about what the living room is. So I would like to stay for the day today. Unfortunately, I can't because I've been on training for a week, so I have to go back to the clients that I've been away from for 5 days last week. So I'll just be here briefly this morning to speak to everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. And Glenn, please.
I'm Glenn Townsend. I'm a person living with HIV. I'm also currently the chair of the British Columbia Persons with AIDS Society, and I also sit on Quigger's board.
Thank you very much. We have a number of people from the federal government. We have 4 representatives, which is just grand. So I would like Moira, Sharon, Susanna. Oh, is Susanna here yet? Maybe not. Oh, good, Susanna, hi. And MJ Hawley to introduce themselves, please. Maybe start with you, Moira.
Hi, I'm Moira Lausier. I work for Service Canada. I direct a group called Service Offerings for People with Disabilities, where we make service improvements for that particular client segment. So I'm particularly interested in being here today to listen to those that are your issues. We also have people on our teams that work with you regularly, so it's not completely new to us, but it will be an interesting day to listen. Thank you.
Okay, Sharon. Pull them forward towards you.
I'm Sharon Peake. I work at Health Canada International Affairs Directorate on the HIV/AIDS file. And at Health Canada, we're responsible for the global engagement component of the federal initiative to address HIV/AIDS. And I'm here because we're doing, in 2 weeks, a week and a half time, we're doing an international policy dialogue on HIV and disability. Thanks to a lot of the help of the people around the room. And so I'm here to sort of make the linkages and to see where those connections can be made.
Thank you. MJ?
MJ Hawley from Canada Pension Plan Disability Policy, HRSDC, and I'm here representing Nancy Lawand, asked me, my DG, to come and just report back to her on some of the highlights and the conclusions that have been reached today, so we're very interested.
Thank you. Susanna?
My name is Susanna Hill. I'm the manager of economic policy at the Office for Disability Issues. We're focusing right now on obviously the labor market participation of people with disabilities, and episodic disabilities is an area that is of particular interest to us.
Thank you very much. Making our representation wonderfully complete, we will have someone from both a province and a territory. The person from the province is not here yet because she's flying in. She's from Newfoundland, and her name is Ardella Pike. But we have already here with us Jolene Russell. Jolene, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jolene Russell. I'm from Yellowknife Northwest Territories. I work with income security programs in the NWT and am also a member of an FPT, Federal Provincial Territorial Group, for income security programs that is specifically working with people with disabilities.
Thank you very much. And we have another person from a Federal Provincial Territorial, or FPT, committee, the AIDS committee. Nina, there you are.
Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. Only took me 8.
Good morning, everybody.
I'm Nina Aaron, and I'm the director of the HIV/AIDS Policy Coordination and Programs Division at the Public Health Agency of Canada, PHAC, not VAC, because the Health Canada folks, Sharon excluded, say, here come the FACers. So we don't say that anymore. We just say PHAC. So take that for what it's worth. But from the perspective of the federal initiative to address HIV and AIDS in Canada, certainly if we look to the future, and with more people living longer with HIV and the drug treatments that are in place, the whole issue of disabilities is, I won't even say it's an emerging issue. I think it's an issue that's here, and that we need to have some very thoughtful discussion and dialogue about it. Certainly as an episodic illness, I think as Elise has said, there's lots of connections with other chronic diseases, and we're here today to talk about the chronic side of HIV, even though there still is in a very acute perspective, and that's about decreasing the number of new infections. But here it's about the chronicity, and I guess it's a positive thing. I go back really far when there was no thoughts of HIV having that chronic illness label. And we're here today because of a lot of good work that's been done in the community, a lot of research, and I think political will to get things moving. So I'm really pleased to be here. I hope I'll be able, along with Sharon, to bring that HIV perspective and to identify ways that we can move forward with this important agenda.
Thank you very much. And last and very definitely not least, we have 4 people from what I'll generically call non-governmental organizations. We have John Stapleton, John Ray, Ann Tweddle, and Leanne Dolan. Perhaps we'll start with you, John Ray.
Let's try that again. There we go. Good morning, I'm John Ray. I'm the first vice chair of the Council of Canadians with Disabilities, Canada's Cross-Disability Coalition, and interested to be here to see the outcome of these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Stapleton.
Morning, everyone. My name is John Stapleton. I currently am what's called a policy fellow at the Metcalf Foundation and with St. Christopher House in Toronto. I spent 30 years up until my retirement in 2002 with the Ontario Public Service, and lastly worked in a program called the Ontario Disability Support Plan, the initials of being ODSP. And latterly have worked on a paper with Ann Tweddle, my colleague, on navigating the maze, which has been part of this initiative. And I suppose if I'm looking at an outcome for today, I would like to, there's sometimes walls between policy and advocacy and research, and if there's ways that we can work to bring down those walls through better communication, I think that would be a good goal.
Thank you. Leanne?
Thanks. Good morning. I'm Leanne Dolan, and I'm with the AIDS Committee of Toronto ACT. And I'm the Director of Programs and Services there, and one of my programs that I do oversee is a program called Employment Action, and it's a program that currently has 6 staff in it that works with people that are living with HIV to enter or re-enter the workforce. And I'm also sit on the advisory committee for the Navigating the Maze project with Quigger.
Thank you very much. Ann.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Ann Tweddle. I worked for over 30 years for the federal government in the area of social policy with an emphasis on social programs, primarily social assistance programs, until I retired in 2003. And since that time, I actually have 2 careers. During the summer, I work as a horticulturalist, and during the off-season, I often undertake contract work with John Stapleton and work jointly with him on the paper for Quigger.
Thank you very much. Now, have I missed anyone at the table? Good. Are we comfortable using first names today? Anyone uncomfortable? Okay, that's an agreement. Now, we've already extended past our allotted time, but I think that introductions, when communication is our target, is so important that I think that was well worth it. That said, for the rest of the first item, let's move quickly ahead. We are going to slip in key terms. What I think I'll do is just mention that in your package, there is a 1-pager, has a triangle in the middle, which has definitions of certain key terms that are used throughout the day. And it's important to share a common vocabulary. If you have any questions about these or comments on them during the day, please feel very free to mention them. But I think we won't go through them at this time, given that time is a challenge. You okay with that, Melissa? Okay. All right, moving on to the review of the agenda. You have a 2-pager, front and back, which is the agenda starting with, on the front of the page, the vision statement. This vision statement is particularly good, but like any paragraph, it can be parsed. So when I looked at it first, I said to myself, what are these people's vision for this day today? And what that paragraph says, basically, is that we're going to try to promote better communications. Well, why? We're going to do that so that we can achieve someday better program and policy coordination. Well, why? So that we can derive a direct benefit for people living with HIV and other episodic disabilities. So there is a fine statement of our entire universe. But this is the part, this is our chunk for today, right up here. So that's what I saw in the vision. If you move down to the objectives, just following on the sheet, the first two objectives correlate directly to our activities this afternoon, both in breakout groups and then back in plenary. We will discuss mechanisms, and then we'll come back and create a short list or a prioritization of those mechanisms. The third objective is to develop short-term, medium-term, long-term steps to achieve those. Those are our objectives for today. If you jump down to the outputs, they should correlate to our objectives, and they do. The first one there, the first in-meeting one, is to have a short list. If you drop to the fourth one, it says we will have short, medium, and long-term objectives to move forward. Those are the two in-meeting outputs that we want to have. The two in the middle are post-meeting outputs. One is a consultation discussion synthesis report, and the other is a framework for costing analysis. So those are the outputs, both in-meeting and post-meeting, that relate to our objectives. And our outcomes, which are the longer range outcomes, go straight back to the broader universe, where what we want is enhanced understanding of the challenges and enhanced communication processes. Okay, so I haven't read those verbatim, but it gives us a very good look at what we're doing today. If you flip it over, you'll have the actual agenda, and you can follow that along today. We've done the introductions, the agenda review right now. The agenda before lunch basically is four actually presentations grouped in three, which will be very interesting. And there we're going to listen and learn. And then in the afternoon, we get to work. That's where I'll ask you to roll your sleeves up. We've got one breakout group session and then 2 plenary sessions. And we'll be done and out of here at 4:30. Any questions on the agenda? Okay, great.